That sounded like me when I got up.
Maybe we should name it, come up like with Monty Python, we should come up with a name for the Carnival's Chuckler at the beginning. But today we're going to just because I'm bereft of thinking of a name for this episode, it's just a bunch of assorted carnival treats. We're going to toss out a bunch of stuff. So, well, we have right here, I'm still Rob, more or less. I've been, roaming around. So I've been everywhere, man. But the walrus was Paul.
Don't be any more.
I know how much
Don't be any more.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is dead, man.
Yeah, it's a different. It's fall.
Hey, it's my line in 3 weeks. And, of course, we have Greg. Yay.
Hi. Please don't be any more Rob than you are.
Two Robs don't make a right.
Oh.
That's one.
But
Man, this is gonna be a good one
you've heard
today.
him before. You've heard him before on our Zooms. But live and in person, we have the one, the only, Del Rivers.
Yes,
Hey,
it's
Del.
me. Yep. I used to do a podcast with the video, but I prefer it this way in a sense.
Well, just look at us and you do prefer it this way. I mean,
Yes,
come
this
on.
is made for radio.
This way, people that knew you from
That's
20
okay,
years
we're
ago
gonna-
are still seeing young you, right?
Right.
Greg's
Yeah,
got a lot of
voice.
stuff. But one weird topic I came up with this week was, okay, we go to record stores, we do all that, everything else, but some odd retail stores we got certain albums from, because I was talking with Steve Litvak, and it's like, dude, because somebody from Nazareth died, not the band.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I said I got Malice in Wonderland. He's like, I can't believe you got that one first. And I go, well, dude, that was the only thing Sears had. And I still remember getting paranoid at Sears. And I would go to Gold Circle.
Yep, I got albums.
I would
there.
go to Gold Circle
Remember that?
and get albums there a lot, because my
Yep.
dad used to buy. They used to make get distilled water there for tea for some reason.
I think I even bought one of my first.
But there you go. Where'd you get it?
albums at a grocery store. Like it was
I
like
used
the
to get
Vanilla
mine from
Fudge
Two
album. I
Guys.
think.
Do you
Shoppers.
ever shove at Two Guys?
Two
Yeah.
guys. I remember Two Guys.
Yeah, they
Before,
said 45s and stuff in there.
before Two Guys, there was a place in Syracuse in Westvale, not even Westvale. It was just on the edge of Syracuse, called Shoppers Fair.
Right.
And
Yep.
Shoppers
Oh, yeah, I
Fair, I
remember
used to
that.
get my 45s at Shoppers Fair. I still have some of those 45s.
I remember that.
And then I used to get them at Kmart. And because actually my mom
They
worked
used
at
to have the
Kmart for a
sticker
while.
right on the paper sleeve sometimes. It's like you had to peel it off.
Yeah.
Peel it off.
Yeah, but there was a store in New York City called Corvettes. Do you know
I heard
Corvettes?
about that.
So a friend of mine, Rich, we call him Buttons, Rich Temple, radio station friend from RUR, wrote a song. He was in a band. They wrote a song about stealing records from Corvettes.
Wow.
It's called "They Were Gifts." So they'd buy a record. They'd put it. They'd come
Switch
back
the
in.
sleeves.
Come back in with a receipt and walk out with another record.
Wow.
And the
Yeah.
chorus was, "They were gifts. They were gifts, and they came from the vets. Oh yes, they were free. They were free in exchange for their own
No,
property."
why was it called,
Yeah, right.
Corvettes? Was it based on the car?
No,
or
it was just the
guy's
name, the guy's name or
something?
something like that.
But
yeah.
everybody's probably done this with the good old dollar tapes.
Yeah.
And you get a whole bunch, tape them, and then send them back.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Your story, Paul, it reminds me of what I did at this one place. I did a favor for them. It was like I don't want to name the place, but it's like a pawn shop place. So I did something for them, and they gave me this crummy cymbal and a stand. And I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll take it, whatever. So I was in there one day, and I felt like I got stuck with the thing, so I brought it back. And I was in there, and I saw something. It was a monitor, actually. I said, hey, I got this thing to trade. Can I get traded for that monitor and a couple bucks? Oh, yeah, sure. So I gave them back their own junk and got something better.
Regifting. Yep. Just in time for Christmas.
No, that's why that's why I met SpiderMan. I think it was at Woolworth. It says SpiderMan, and I've always told Denise
Wow.
I told Denise Crosby this story about how I said I met SpiderMan. Do you know who he was? It was Jonathan Frakes at his first job.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And she told me, she's like, next time we get together, I'm going to tell him that one. So
It's
he's
amazing.
he's
Yeah.
probably,
in
he
Rochester
probably
or
bought.
somewhere
He
else.
would know he was here. I guess that was his first job. I guess it was like he was going around making. See, it wasn't the real Spider-Man. It was an actor.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh,
So I've got
Yeah,
an,
you
I've got an,
remember
I've
webs
got,
coming
I've,
out.
no, I've
They
got an
couldn't afford the
autograph.
real one?
I've got it's like
Real
Draco
one
the
was fighting crime someplace.
right.
Draco the Dragon Man versus Spider-Man. I have an autograph. Best wishes, Spidey. That's Jonathan Frakes.
Wow.
Oh, Woolworth. Yeah, Woolworth.
Actually, I'm thinking now when I said Grants, I was thinking downtown Syracuse. It probably was Woolworths. It was on the corner, and it was downstairs that they had the 99-cent LPs.
Yeah,
the
cheaper LPs.
There was Ames, there was Kresge's, there were like a freaking million stores.
Kresge's before Kmart. Wow.
It's like
Arlen's.
Arlen's.
I think I got a lot of my albums at Arlen's because it was down at Ridge and Carter.
And of course, there are all the good old K-Tel records, which is made famous forever in the band of some K-Tel rock star.
Well, one thing good about the K-Tels is they always like have a lineup of the songs that kind of like had a good, like someone give you a song tape or something and have a nice.
They were good mix. It was like a mixtape, yeah.
The only thing is sometimes they edit the songs. Like
They edit the songs out. It's like half the song.
They had the minute 30-second version of Inagata
Davida. It doesn't fit in the vinyl.
I remember that from Carry On My Wayward Son, actually, because it's like, okay, it's starting. Okay, it's over.
Where's the middle part? Yeah. Like,
but Greg, I know you want to go some good old tidbits about some old stuff.
Well, I was saying that my cousin lives out in Los Angeles, and he sends me these things from Variety all the time. You know, articles or whatever. But he sent me some kind of thing. I sent you that one thing about Superman and the Mole Men, and he keeps trying to send me stuff that he probably thinks I don't know or haven't discovered, but I'm like, dude, I'm ahead of you. I already have it. So, anyway, he sent me this thing about the old Tarzan movies and how Maureen O'Sullivan was discovered by somebody. Her first movie didn't do well, but she got the audition for the Jane thing. She didn't mind the outfits. She said, I liked it. She thought it was sexy. She liked the sexy stuff. And the Me Tarzan, You Jane thing was improvised. It wasn't written in there. Something about they were supposed to be sitting in a tree, and Weissmuller was just goofing around saying Me Tarzan, and she said Me Jane or something. Or
they kept it in.
And and then the director said, keep it.
Yeah, because I don't think I read I went back during the good old C word a couple of years ago, and I was like reading a lot of Edgar Wright Burroughs.
And she didn't like Cheetah.
It's like Beam Me Up Scotty. I don't think they ever really said You Tarzan, Me Jane in the books.
No. And
it's
I
like
guess
Judy. It was made up.
Right.
Yeah, but wasn't Cheetah the best? Didn't they have like the one thing when they bought like the rights to it, they couldn't get Cheetah because he cost too much or something?
Wow. I don't know.
And I love the one where they have the one where they fight the Nazis and Hitler calls and he's talking to Cheetah.
Yeah. That's a good one. I don't know that one.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, they had him on. They were in. My dad loved him, and for a while they would have him on TMC in the morning.
Yeah.
Like they have like the pulps and
Neil
stuff.
Hamilton was in the first one.
Yeah.
He played. I forgot what he played.
The
Like
Cheetah with
the
Cheetah with the machine gun shooting the Nazis.
Yeah. And I guess also there was a nude scene, a swimming scene in Tarzan and his mate right before the code. They made it before the code, and then they got the code, and then they had to take some stuff out. But there's some still. It ended up in the UK somewhere. It wasn't actually her. It was a stunt double swimming because she's claustrophobic apparently.
Yeah. She was like pure naked, or was she like
I think so. Yeah. So there's like there's three versions, I guess. There's a topless one. There's a full one, and then there's like a
full backle.
Yeah, like underwater.
Yeah,
one.
there was a lot of movies in the 1920s that got away with nudity because they didn't, have a thing to judge it yet.
Yeah, lousy church, lousy decency.
Still going on today.
It's not like a bunch of old ladies that got together and just made up a group, just to
I think of the Pepper Pots from Monty Python as watching.
Right.
We used to get them like at the comic book shop. Like Tony used to tell me, there would every now and then to be like these characters come in. There's one guy said, "Well, this is okay, this is okay, this isn't okay, this isn't okay." It's like, well, get out of my shop.
Right. And I was reading some stuff about that Superman and Lois show. It's like they're going on some weird tangents on that.
He had
show.
Bizarro on. I think at least somebody had Bizarro on, but I just. It's their highest rated show on CW, and they're doing another season of Flash. I like Legends of Tomorrow the best.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Unfortunately, that went off.
Did it?
Yeah, they canceled it. I guess there's like it got sold, and they're like doing a readjustment.
I still haven't watched them all. I mean,
I love them.
I got through the first couple seasons.
I do. I think it's the best show they had, but like Superman and Lois, I just can't. It's like I've tried and tried.
I watched the first three
episodes.
I think.
I think writing is a lot different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so they're afraid of getting criticism or saying you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right.
You just kind of.
Well, and the CW has some politics going on. The producer, that Greg Berlanti guy, he's gay. So there's agenda stuff
that angle,
going on.
yeah, has a certain angle.
And so it's it's like Notting Hill with guys in costumes. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of that teenage, the feelings.
Do you ever hear the one? Do you ever hear the great line from Supergirl?
Stupid feelings.
There's a line from Supergirl where what was on? It was on ABC or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it got canceled. CW got it. And
Right.
Calista Flockhart, she's the editor. She goes, "Look at this cast. It's a bunch of attractive, diverse people. It's like a CW show."
Right. She was great in that show.
And The Flash has got one more season too.
Yeah.
Which
Flash
is
I like, except man, it's wordy. That show is so wordy with the tech stuff.
Wow.
They just talk. It's like all the stuff that you know what I mean. If you really listen to it, they spout off all kinds of stuff, which is really kind of cool.
It's
that's
like
what
nerd speak.
They're supposed to be that
like
way,
scientists and everything.
right? So that it makes sense.
Variants and stuff.
The writing is very specific to each of those shows. Like Arrow is actually the most serious one.
You know,
That was
he's
the
in,
darkest
he's
show.
now in a show called Heels.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
about an independent wrestling promotion, and him and his brother are
wow.
running.
Wow.
It's actually
That's gonna be
pretty good. It's
I'll have to
actually
check it.
pretty
What's it
good.
called?
Just Heels.
Oh,
It's actually pretty good. CM Punk plays Ricky Rabies in it.
cute babies.
And it's actually, like, if you're a wrestling fan, you really appreciate it because they really try to stick to the Carney stuff and everything.
Right.
But I think it's a great show. I mean, they have the one where the guy got slammed and shits his pants. And that's like a story Stone Cold Steve Austin told about. He goes, I was wrestling a guy named Yokozuna. Some bitch was like 600 pounds. He's glad I had black shorts on because he slammed me. I shit my pants in the ring. And you think this show is not educational.
Speaking of that, did anybody see Nightmare Alley? I
Yes,
wanted to see
I
it.
have.
Was it good?
I
have the
The
original
favorites, the first one's one of my favorites. This is that and a little more. They take it a little.
I'd like to see it.
And it's good. It's good though.
It just vanished.
Has anybody
It
ever
was-
seen it?
My problem
It's
is,
a Carnival
my
movie.
stupid mother, she watches the Lifetime
Tyrone
channel
Power
or,
was in the
or
original.
Hallmark, and I can't watch anything else. It's like, come on, you watch
My
something
dad
else?
would watch
Jeez.
Hallmark all the time.
Yeah, I don't know what they like about it. It's like real safe entertainment or something.
My dad got weird, especially with his dementia. He'd be watching like all these chick flick things and then be crying during them and stuff.
Right, start crying.
I'd be crying too because they were on and I couldn't leave the room.
like soap operas of some sort.
I found some great deals at Big Lots. I've been troving Big Lots lately.
Send us your money, Big Lots.
No,
I like
they
the
had.
videos.
I bought A Million Ways to Die in the West for $1.25.
Wow.
This is great.
Yeah, because I want to see that because I saw clips of it.
It's funny, it's
They used to have
funny.
the
Funny as hell.
Hitchcock, the Hitchcock box set was at Big Lots. Did you ever get that?
No, but I got the Popeyes there for like $6. The original.
Wow.
Paramount put them out. Yeah, they were really.
That's
They're
pretty
really
good.
And then I found I got all 6. How many? I don't know if there's more than 6 now, but I got 6 Resident Evil movies for $7
Wow.
because I wanted to see those. I've
Yeah.
never seen them. They're supposed to be pretty good.
They are
I'm
not
still
bad.
trying to get the Stranger Things. I got
Yeah.
I got to go back to it because the second season stunk, and I
heard
stopped
it
watching
stunk,
it.
yeah,
And I've heard everybody's been raving about it.
About what? Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
Stranger Things, yeah.
Netflix crashed the day that the 3rd season came out or something.
Really? I
Yeah,
hadn't heard that.
it crashed for like I don't know 10, 15 minutes or something.
Due to what? Like people
Just trying to get
people
a
trying to
stream,
get
I
in.
guess. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think it would have an effect
Yeah.
on computers.
Or it went down. Maybe it just went down.
Right.
It just
Just down in
happened.
the middle.
But they used it as a
Way to
publicity
sell the
thing.
show, yeah.
I don't blame them. That's a good one. Yeah, our show's so popular. Hey, look
I
at
heard,
that.
I heard it's gonna be the last one because the kids are starting to get older.
Right.
They're starting, in
Yeah.
their 20s practically. But
Yeah.
it was just like Happy Days when Ron Howard was doing Happy Days. He wasn't a teenager. He was already like 21.
Right.
Well, the
It's
Fonz
always
was in his
amazing on
30s.
those
Yeah, he was
shows.
like in his 30s or something.
The one that's got me going is Better Call Saul, because when you think about Breaking Bad starting, right, those characters are playing the same characters that were on, what, 7 years ago, I want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it started a long time ago.
It's
Yeah.
amazing that the child actors from one season to another, you watch them and you go, holy crap, what the hell happened? In like one summer, they just shoot up
become
like
older than
crazy.
you.
Yeah.
It's like, who was it? Is it Anthony Michael Hall? Whoever was in Beetlejuice. Not Anthony Michael Hall with the other guy.
I don't know.
But I remember I hadn't seen him in a long time. It was like in Weird Science.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw him and then I go, wait a second, that's not him, is it?
Yeah, he totally changed his look. You can't tell it's the same guy, from the 80s or whatever.
It's like I happened by
90s.
fluke to see, I think, some Shirley Temple movie where she's a teenager, and it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oklahoma or something like that.
I watched. I got another thing that somebody sent me. It was an interview that Billy Mooney did, and it's on YouTube. But he was talking about Guy Williams and what a great relationship they had on Lost in Space and this and that. And he does this great dead nuts imitation of Jonathan. The guy that played.
Jonathan Harris.
Yeah,
because he was friends with
him. My dear boy, he just does this whole thing. It's really funny how he does it. But he said that this is really weird. He said that June Lockhart was a rock and roller.
Oh, she was.
She kept a picture of Bowie in her wallet, all that, and she took them, him and whoever else, took them to the Roxy to see the Allman Brothers. She had the Allman Brothers play at a party at her house before they were the Allman Brothers.
Wow.
When they were the Hourglass.
Right.
Yeah. And then him and Angela Cartwright had a relationship. He let that out for a while. He said they went out for a couple of years.
We had a table at a comic book convention I went to, and he was great kitty corner for me.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. Nice guy.
He's always at those things. Yeah, he's a really good.
He's still into doing Twilight Zone stuff.
Yeah,
he's still active in comic books. He does everything.
Yeah, he wrote. I remember I read his Aquaman story was pretty good. He wrote.
Really?
The Peter David Aquaman. He wrote a story.
Huh? That's pretty cool.
Billy Mooney.
That Twilight Zone, man. That where he's a kid there. That was so creepy.
Wish it to the cornfield.
Yeah, right. The Jack in the Box. I love it.
I was always thinking of the Jack in the Box with the head going back and forth.
Yeah. That's always still. I hate those lists about what's your top shit, but that's always going to be in my top 5. Still trying to get his daughter to find time to be on the Zoom and wherever you are.
Oh yeah, that was supposed to happen.
Right.
But that's like one of the. It's still, and I think a lot of ways, like with cartoons and allegories, you can get away with stuff too, like telling stories that you wouldn't be able to get away with.
Yeah.
Got to watch for during the Fringe Fest. I hope they do it again because they did it last year and it wasn't very well attended. But Watkins and the Rapiers have written enough songs across the 6-7 guys in the band now about Twilight Zone that they did a whole show of Twilight Zone episodes.
Oh wow!
And they were supposed to debut it in my backyard.
Like the songs, or you just
they wrote songs about it, but then they had. During the songs, they had sort of stylized 50s TV sets, and they were doing trivia.
Wow.
They had trivia slides about everything, so it was a multimedia thing.
I know the drummer.
I sort of debuted the Twilight Zone in your
Marty,
I debuted the Twilight Zone in your backyard about a month ago.
That's pretty funny.
Well, it was Twilight Zone one day, and it was Wizard of Oz another day because they had the cowardly lion back there.
That this year.
But that's I
maybe
love
you'll
like
be playing in it.
if you can get like concepts like
once,
that, it's
but
like
we
sort of
never
neat,
since.
like the good crossover and stuff we grew up with and loved, and bring it in. It's kind of awesome.
Oh yeah.
Video of it somewhere.
Oh, you're talking about. I was talking about our yard. You were talking about Fringe.
Oh, I was talking about Fringe. Yeah. Sorry.
Because we're going to ask Susie to play this year, I think.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
My sister did the book for Fringe. She did the graphics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's the one that put that stuff together.
I went to the sad part, like again, like you said, of attendance.
Cool.
It's like weird how it's hit. I remember like the first year they had it, I felt bad. But I heard like there was some kind of show at the Auditorium Theater of like 9 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not low attendance.
But it was.
I would say so.
It was really working before COVID.
Yeah.
And then last year was weird.
Yeah, because people were afraid to come out.
Yeah, people were afraid to come out,
or they can't afford tickets because the prices of everything gone up.
Right. And so I want to see what it's like this year. I think we didn't go to jazz this year. I think we're looking forward to going to Fringe. That's probably
well, Adriana's playing. I already got tickets for them. Actually, the Archive Ravens are going to do a Music of the World show, which should be awesome.
Cool.
It's cool.
And I guess it's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. And Ava, I guess, used to live there. It's like partly like a residential.
Yeah.
So it's right across the street from Java's.
Right.
Wow.
So
that's great.
And it's also going to commemorate because I finally get my butt done that week. So that's like the next. So I look at this as like a memorial concert.
I was wondering when you were going to finish your butt.
I think, yeah, it's a work in progress.
Hair removal.
Got a pain in the ass scheduling it.
Oh.
And that's the rest of the show there. We're done.
Mic drop here.
But I mean, Fringe, I like the idea. I've always said, and this is something I've been talking about the last couple of weeks when I got to the point about why do you get ticked off about some with music and things, and what I finally dawned on me, okay, if you can like your generic whatever you like, that's fine if you like it. you sure you like it, or other people like to see you do, but you won't try anything else. That's the thing. I always had the big problem with people. They won't.
Yeah, they're
try.
crowd followers.
I'll get people call. I'll get people like friends got a hold of me, and I saw my friend Alyssa play at a show, and they had like a cover band after. I left after tying it out with Alyssa. But like a friend called me, there was an Eagles cover band. If you like Eagles, fine, whatever. And I said, so and so is playing, such and such is playing. Oh, we don't want to go to that.
Yeah, just for no reason.
You know, if you don't like it, fine. But you might find something you like. You know, it's like
exactly.
Well, that's the whole point of Fringe, right? Is everything's something that you've never
It's
seen
something
before.
you've never seen before, right?
And
you don't know my life, dude. It's I live on the Fringe.
I'm talking about the average man on the street.
That Spiegel tent. I do
like
that all the time.
Although my first,
Rob's got a Spiegel tent in his backyard.
I was inspired.
With a circus act going.
My first attempt at repelling didn't go very well.
Okay, I want to do my Stephen Wright just because it sounds Fringe. So I was on the bus one day, and there's a woman crying, and I go, "What are you crying about?" I don't want to tell you. Like, look, sometimes it helps to tell your problems to a perfect stranger on a bus. So she says, "Well, I have this big problem. I'm a nymphomaniac, but I've only turned on by Jewish cowboys." And I'm nodding, trying to, say, "Oh, it's all right, it's all right." We get to the stop, and she goes, "Really, this really felt good telling somebody, thank you. By the way, my name's Kate. Oh, pleased to meet you, Bucky Goldstein."
My favorite Stephen Wright is a little bit shorter. He goes, "I got this light switch in my house. I don't know what it does. Every time I walk by it, I turn it on or turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And finally I got a letter from this woman in Germany saying, 'Cut it out!'"
He had one about his hygienist, his dental hygienist. He says, "I love my dental hygienist, so every time I have an appointment, I eat an entire box of Oreo cookies."
I went to a restaurant that said have breakfast anytime. So I had an omelet in the French Revolution. But are you doing some? You know what?
That's
I want
great.
to stop way back.
I love that joke.
I heard you mention the one thing you're doing some Joe Meek stuff, and I was like, Joe Meek rules. You guys, Joe Meek.
Well, do you know Brett Loudon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big Joe Meek fan because he knew Dave Adams, who actually played with Joe Meek.
Uh-huh.
And he was doing a project with all these artists doing Joe Meek songs, and I'm doing one myself, but I don't know what's going on with it yet.
Okay,
So
that'd be cool. I like to hear
I have
that.
to ask who Joe Meek is because I never
Producer from the
You've heard. I know
English
you've
producer
heard.
Who produced a lot of pre-Beatles rock and roll.
Okay.
back in-
Telstar, a lot of instrumentals.
Telstar.
Got it,
You know,
got it, okay.
one of the really famous guitar players who started out with them. Somebody's got to know.
The guy from the Shadows.
With who?
The Shadows, yeah.
Richie Blackmore.
Richie Blackmore, right.
Okay.
Oh, wow, I
He
didn't know
started out
that.
with Joe Meek.
Yeah.
So did Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Tom Jones.
He was
at the
like
same
one of those
time.
guys who was like a factory. There's a song my friend's band, the Priscillas, does All the Way to Holloway. And that's Holloway is the place like he's from.
Yeah.
But he was this guy, and again, it was controversial now because obviously he was a gay man in the 50s and 60s.
Yep, he had to hide the face.
Not in the American South, but still, it was.
Was that the same era
Well,
as like
England,
Mickey
they can still
Most
get
and those
arrested.
guys?
Yeah.
The same.
Yeah, and you could, but he was like one of those guys you would go through. It would be like the Blues Breakers with John Mayall, like all the players.
Okay.
Or like you probably played with like Maker. I remember when I saw John Mayall, he's like rattling off, like just mentioning like, well, Eric played this and I did this. And
Wow.
It's like everybody's like, but I think he's like somebody everybody went through, and he did a lot of. It was like a lot. You've heard everything probably, like all these instrumentals.
Just didn't know the producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have the one
Joe Meek stuff is amazing.
I have the one collection. It's what robots, cowboys, and
Yep, a lot of the
aliens, all the
tornadoes.
Yeah,
a lot of tornado
tornadoes.
stuff. Yep.
And he produced all these instrumental bands and stuff. But there's a movie about him that's out that I finally saw.
Yeah. I think
Pretty-
there's 2 movies.
Yeah.
That are ever.
It's
same
called
kind of theme.
Telstar.
Yeah. Telstar. Wow.
I love like when people though all us experts though we don't know somebody. That's great. You were enlightened now.
I'm enlightened.
His wife's a big Beatles expert, so we get a lot
Yes,
of.
she is. She's English. And,
Oh, really?
And she
You can ask her about
and
it,
she
she would
just
know.
she's like no Beatles.
She don't like
She
Beatles.
Doesn't like the Beatles.
No
She
Beach
doesn't like,
Boys
doesn't
either.
like the Beatles. Doesn't like
Well,
YouTube.
I was at Herman's Hermits. Did you like Herman's Hermits?
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
He was doing other British invasion songs and stuff. It was really good.
Well, she's probably had it up to here with all that stuff because it was
the
probably
Beatles might be overkill
all she
in
heard of
England.
back when she was growing up.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny though is another one too, and that's like why we just shoot the bull on this show. Is there's a book one of my favorite books called "The Experts Were Wrong." And it's got all these quotes, and they had something how the Beatles were like passe by 65. They were going to be over by Herbert's and the Dave Clark 5.
Right.
You wouldn't even hear of them.
Wow. It's almost true in a way.
Well, that proves that they don't know what they're talking about.
I was just reading about the when the Monkees were in England and how the Beatles had them over and they all hung out together and how Princess Margaret wrote a letter to them asking them to do something about their followers outside the hotel because they had teenage or tween girls just screaming all day and night, and she could hear it from the castle.
Wow,
That's why we do these like in a secluded thing because so our fans don't.
Don't
That's
palm
right.
on the
Okay, I have
We're in an
okay.
undisclosed location right now.
Controversy
So that
time, a little bone of contention. I have to admit, I'm worried
in a bunker
now.
somewhere deep in the desert.
Yes, but I saw
Dick Cheney.
I saw the trailer for Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
Is it good?
I could send it to you. It's out now, and I actually posted it on Facebook.
Oh, I got to see it.
What's the angle that he has on? Is it
Okay,
a
what they
different
do?
angle, or-
Yeah, it's a prequel. How Herman and Lily met.
Oh, good angle.
But it's
better.
But it looks. It's okay.
I kind of like Rob Zombie movies.
I
Yeah,
do
I do
too.
too.
I like them all. I mean, I actually really do. They're like a guilty pleasure of mine. I like them. You know, they're like.
Sort of like Ed Wood.
Okay, you're
kinda
guilty
Edward.
about that.
And I saw him in concert. He wore a Santa Claus hat, which is funny. But it's you're gonna have to watch it to make the decision for yourself. I mean, it's almost. I would say it's almost like got a Pee Wee Playhouse like feel to it. It's in color.
Do you think it'll go straight to DVD if it doesn't?
It's
make
supposed to be released. It's got a release date.
You know what I just watched recently that I was laughing my ass off was the new Cartridge Family that they had on VH1. They had one episode and had so much criticism that they didn't have any more episodes. But it was actually pretty funny. It had Emma Stone. She was in there.
you know,
ever
it's
see
like
Didn't see it.
I think
You
like I
gotta
know
look it up.
and
It's
also
Didn't know about it. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
I know
until
the guy who
recently.
plays Herman Munster's also like his name's Ed something. He's a huge fan. He was showing off like his signed Herman Munster doll.
Oh, wow.
And Rob Zombie loves the show. I even did a song about Herman's car. So you hope
That's
they
cool.
do, but that's the hook. And people were criticizing, saying, no offense to their ages, but like Sherry and Ed are like 50. But you think these are eternal monsters. I think they were married for 200 years in the show. And then Butch Patrick's going to play the Tin Can Man.
Oh, he's actually got a role in that.
He's going to play the Tin Can Man,
cool.
who was in
Nice.
actually one of the, it's actually from one of the episodes.
Oh, wow.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, I watched a lot of cool stuff about that show. I've got the 2 movies. I'm not so sure they weren't that great, but
No,
There was a
it
two
was
for-
weird to see them in color.
Two of them on one video.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had them in color,
Yeah.
colorized.
Yep.
well, they did the movie, The Monster Go Home, because they knew it was getting canceled, but they were going to sell it like to overseas, and they did it for an overseas audience, so that's why they did it.
Ah, okay.
But
wow,
like,
good to know.
but Fred Gwynn, he also wrote like these really neat children's books, which have
yeah?
they're all pun
That's right.
filled.
Before he died, he did the children's books.
My celebrity, name dropping Denise Crosby. I was asking her about working with him on Pet Cemetery. She's just the sweetest guy.
Yeah, I heard he's a nice guy.
Just a really nice guy and everything.
I got.
Did you ever watch the new Pet Cemetery? The one that was a
Yeah.
remake.
This
Was
one
it
from
good?
Canal.
Or, I never got to see that.
All right, all
Did they
right.
use the Ramones songs at all? Or
No.
nothing like
No.
that.
Getting a basement yesterday.
Like what was the same plot? The same.
Pretty
idea?
much, yeah. They changed it around a little, but we were going to talk Hercules about. I was thinking Hercules and the Moon Men, but actually
Oh, man.
Superman meets the Mole Men.
Oh yeah, I
think
love that.
That was a great movie. They look like little Oompa Loompas. So
Yeah.
Was that a comic book? I think there was a comic book that was based on that.
it was a movie, and then it came on the series.
It was sort of the pilot for the series, kind of, but it was in the theaters. It was only an hour long. It was like an hour and 8 minutes or something like that. But I guess one of the alien guys, or they come up through this well. They dig an oil well, and I think one of them was one of the guys from the Munchkins, from Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one or two of them that were still alive, like into like the 1960s
Yeah.
or something.
But they got some great dialogue because it's super serious. I mean, like, like he says, stop acting like Nazi stormtroopers and all this kind of stuff, because they're hunting down these things. They're scared of them, and they got bloodhounds, and they set the shed on fire.
You know, the ones
hiding,
wounded and scared
really
and everything and afraid.
Yeah,
he's got to go rescue it and take it away.
Right.
And they got this little like laser bazooka. They come out and shoot the guys with it. Everything. And I still think Phyllis Coates was great.
She was great. Yeah.
You know, Noel Neal's cool, but Phyllis Coates was just the best Lois Lane.
There was that one episode about the ventriloquism dummy. Remember that one?
Yeah.
And they're in a theater or something, and she turns to Inspector Henderson and she says, "Where does he go?" And he goes, "I don't know. Maybe he takes off his glasses and turns into Superman or something." It's a great line.
It's like the old joke about why does Batman wear a mask? Because they have better eyesight in Gotham than Metropolis.
Yeah. Right?
But what have you been doing on the comic book scene? Do you still keep up, Del?
I try to, because my friend Ken Wheaton, who runs Rhino's Comics, not that I'm plugging it or anything, I go in there on occasion and see what's going on, but I'm more of a Mad Magazine type person. I used to collect Mad Magazines.
Are they coming out still?
I had a subscription to that.
I did.
Except they have advertising in
National Lampoon and Mad Magazine were my two go-tos.
It's still pretty funny.
But remember the old ones, though, too? Like Cracked?
Yeah,
Cracked.
Plop, and there was all these other ones. Was Cracked had the little, like the house painter-like guy. I don't know what his mascot was.
There was one Mad, I think it was a year or two ago, I got a subscription. And they had one on music that was hysterical, and they had one on TV that was really funny.
They're usually
big
pretty
mock
good.
of TVs, and oh my god, yeah, this stuff was hilarious.
On the Mad Magazine or the Cracked?
Mad,
right?
Yeah.
No, and I would look forward to like the movie parodies every time.
Yeah.
I still remember some from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, those are the ones that
when I time traveled back to the 70s and 80s, and they were from the Poop Side Down adventure.
I think I had an all Al Jaffe issue too.
Al Jaffe was great.
And I always liked was it Don Martin who did it? Was the beautiful fantasy and the expected reality?
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. I found a Spy versus Spy shirt at Target, which I thought, holy crap, nobody bought this. I gotta buy this. I mean, I still have it. It's got like raised felt figures.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
nice.
It's really nice, and it's like, who the hell even? You know
how
what I
they
mean?
come
It's an
across
odd
it.
one, but it's cool. It's gray and black.
Yeah, they must have licensing for it.
Some awesome merchandise. I
Yeah,
saw that.
somebody had some vision.
And I proudly have the soundtrack to Up the Academy.
Oh yeah, that was a Mad Magazine.
Which they never did. It was a weird. It's like your typical like Animal House, but it's a little more off a little bit.
Yeah,
it's some good songs too. Mike's played some on the show.
It was, I think the Cheeks or somebody from Syracuse was on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was fun in those days. But I found out one of the best ways to get an audience. I was reading Tommy Chong's autobiography, and they played here at a pizza place. Like the first thing, Carly Simon was the headliner.
Really?
But the first it was Lee Miller's Pizza or something.
Wow.
It was their first gig. But they actually got a club. There's this like sleazy guy in California. They gave him a nightclub. And the way they did it on the nightclub was, okay, we got to pack this place. They took it. They advertised during the day saying, we're shooting a movie and we need actors. And when people got there, they said, well, this is a low-budget movie. You can be on there, but you have to buy your own drinks. And they said, the veteran actors knew and left, but they said all the other people. But he said the guy took the club back from the next day and closed it because he said they didn't charge him any cover and they lost money. But that was cool stuff in the day, like the good old midnight movies on Stone.
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys were freaking ballyhoo artists, man. They were they fast talkers, and like Roger Corman and all those guys.
Oh yeah, like the one was like the creature from but they got to take off because they don't have a license for the camera.
Yeah, right.
I think Roger Corman's still at it. Like he
Oh, yeah.
still a Sharknado or something like that.
Yeah.
How they made more than one of those, I still can't figure out.
They're hysterical.
Yeah, they all have
I always look forward to that.
What's the actor that's always in all those movies?
I have no idea. I don't know. I never watched stuff like that.
Oh, what's his name?
It's almost
I know.
too much for me.
It's
not
he has
Ian-
a sister that was in Pretty Woman.
Oh,
What's his name?
That guy.
Well, I know Tara Reid was in
Mental
them with
Freeze.
I could picture them.
Tara
too.
Reid, Tara Reid, she was in one of them.
But they get insane. What were they doing? They were time traveling then, or doing she's the Terminator, basically.
Yeah, they have different characters that they put in like that.
I was watching that when I was going home from ballet because it was so bad that and I was like, "Where's the shark out here?"
What were you dancing in?
I couldn't believe that rainstorm. That was a nasty one, but who thinks about that stuff? I mean, you think about like you go to a pitch meeting. Hey, I have an idea. There's going to be a tornado and the sharks are going to be flying out.
I know.
It's like Twister, but with sharks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Why didn't chainsaws work?
I always thought about like some shows like Hogan's Heroes. How the hell do you pitch something like that and it gets accepted? Oh yeah, we're gonna have this funny comedy about a Nazi prison camp. Oh, okay, sounds
It's
great.
the lighter side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's it's a concentration camp. You just said it's a prisoner camp.
Yeah.
Did they get that from Stalag 17, sort of?
Probably.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what started it. Yep.
Yeah.
Same actors were in
It's,
both
That was a
of
great
them.
so
movie.
that was the pitch. It's like Stalag 17, except funny.
Yeah.
What, as
Great.
if the first one wasn't?
Stalag 17 was.
Well, that was like the idea they pointed out, like that anything could be funny. You know, like John Cleese has said that. There's like the thing from It's a Gift, like with W.C. Fields with the blind guy in the store.
right.
You know, I think there's an art to it if you can just laugh. If you're not laughing at them, you're like laughing. You know, some things I wouldn't do, especially now. But you go back
Yeah,
to
so
like
different politically correctness is just taking over everything.
you go
Well,
back.
I'm
like,
sure a lot of
old-
people couldn't watch a show like Hogan's Heroes if they were in the war. You know, they
Yeah,
probably
the time
bothered
period,
them.
right.
You know,
Right.
but other people, you know, doesn't. If you can laugh it off, then it's then you're cured. But I'm sure some people that would offend them.
Well, I always got like when I went back on a kick, I was watching a bunch of old Abbott and Costellos.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, but like
I
the
have a
buck
bunch
cry
of
was okay. We go to World War II, and there's a cringe-worthy scene when they come home where Lou's having this thing with like a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Which was not. This was really just cringe-worthy.
Wow.
But look, they all go off. There's Shemp Howard, of course, playing Shemp.
Right.
They all go off. They're all happy. They all go off. Everybody comes back. Nobody's dead, wounded. They're saying, "We're coming home, yay!" It's like, oh yeah, that's really realistic about war.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was great? I watched Who Done It the other day. That Abbott and Costello about the
okay.
radio station.
Yeah.
That's so funny because there's this great scene where he's in the turntable room and he backs into the turntable thing and he clicks it on and you hear this. All right, get him up, get your hands up, you know. And he's like, he thinks there's really somebody there, and it's really fun.
Yeah, a lot of that old stuff, and I think also like talking about old movie serials and stuff. I think the problem there's a Deus Ex Machina these days with all the special effects. And I
Right.
think wouldn't it have been cool? You go back like watching like a Jesus Christ Vampire Slayer, or Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace, like I think like from more recent date, where they were like you had to create, you didn't have that, so you had to make things. And I think that would be. I think we've lost some of that creativity because sometimes you watch movies and you go, you can do anything now. Why does this damn thing look like?
Well, like
Well,
explosions and fire all look the same
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's like you're not. It doesn't even move you. It's just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's
CGI.
Not as, right, CGI, exactly.
Well, speaking of having to make things, Blob Fest was last weekend down in Pennsylvania. Have you ever done that?
No,
We got to do it next year. It wasn't on my calendar this year, so
I didn't even know.
What's the festival
so Blob
about?
Fest is in the town in which the Blob was shot.
Oh,
Wow.
They have Blob Fest, and it ends with everybody running to the theater because that's where the Blob ended, was in the theater.
Right.
Is that the one
Yep.
with Steve McQueen, right?
Yeah.
I watched that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The theme song was the first
The Blob,
Burt
it creeps
Bacharach
and
song.
freaks and freaks all over.
Did anybody see Keltiki, the Spanish one? Keltiki, the Immortal Monster? It was kind of the same thing.
Based on the Blob.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, did they have them though? Because I've heard now the
It's on
story. I heard
Tubi
it was
if
made
you
of
will.
silicon. I don't know if I was wrong or not. The Blob.
The Blob?
Could have been.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think a lot. It's like Ed Wood. Nobody really still knows what like those. That they were like plates or what they were. That's the cool part. But you know who directed the Son of the Blob? Only movie he ever directed.
No clue.
No clue.
Piece of gum if you win. Ricola.
Ooh, I gotta know.
Jeopardy or villain?
Larry Hagman.
Wow.
Wow.
He directed it or produced it?
Damn, I wanted
He
that
directed
Directed
it.
it.
Wow.
It's interesting.
But that's it. Yeah, we should do that. That would be like the Blob Fest.
The Blob Fest. It's a 3-day thing. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was totally off my radar this summer.
What do they do? Serve Jello or stuff?
They've got like vendors selling all sorts of sci-fi and comic book stuff.
Are you like walk into the blob? You can get absorbed. They take a picture.
There were people walking with these blob things on their shoulder. Yeah, it was great.
Wow. You know, that's like, and again, like whatever you think of Roswell, I got to say, you could be for it, against it, whatever you want. You know, they kidnapped Paul McCartney, replaced him doing the Paul's Dead thing, whatever else. Jill kidnapped Paul McCartney because she's mad.
I'm still here.
But, well, we'll bring out the guitar.
You know what it was? Jill kidnapped Paul McCartney.
But, you know, that UFO museum's fucking hilarious. And I can't imagine, like, it was the 75th anniversary this year, how that town had to be booked for like a year. The hotels.
They get crowded with people.
It's freaking hilarious. It's great, though. I love that place. I like it better than Los Alamos.
Well, it sort of reminds me of Groundhog Day when they have the big festival based around the groundhog coming out or pulling them out of the hutch.
These weird. We should actually take this on the road and go find weird festivals and just like.
I'd love to do that. That would be great.
Because I always say there's like a weird thing about America where you go drive down those back roads, you'll find the reptile houses, the big balls of string, all this other stuff. It's all like
stuff in
on like my work travels, like like Naples. Going out to Naples, they got a place that sells goat fudge.
Wow.
Wasn't they have goat milk or something?
Probably really good. Yeah. It's probably had a goat.
It's probably
milk.
Awesome.
You know,
it's probably healthier than a regular.
But you see, there's a salt museum. Now, what are you going to do in a
pound salt?
I've been to the salt museum.
How is it small though?
The one in Syracuse?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's peppered with.
Well,
it's peppered.
Sorry, I had to. They just come to me.
I should have seen that one coming. It's on Onondaga Lake Park. And it's this little place, and it's all about the salt industry. When before the lake was polluted, the reason the area was settled is Onondaga Lake's a salt lake, and they would evaporate the water to get salt out of it.
It's sort of like sea salt before they had sea salt.
Yeah, so after you may take the tour, do you have to drink a lot because you're thirsty?
I don't know. People are feeling pretty salty after
have you been to the...
They can float on the water and just like...
I actually got into one of my classes was all about Colonial America and like a risk day and all those. That's where they really, no better word, fuck the Indians over horribly on their treaties and everything. That's where there's so much history around here. You know, there's so much history.
You know, that was the thing about growing up in Syracuse. There's a replica fort there, and all these places were sort of built during the WPA in the 30s. But the thing about the salt industry is that my grandmother was born in Poland, came over on a boat when she was 9 months old, right? Grew up on a farm south of Syracuse, and then moved to Syracuse.
Yeah.
And she still tells stories about, they would sound bells when it was going to rain, and everybody in her neighborhood would run to the salt evaporators and help pull tarps over them so they wouldn't get wet. So they wouldn't get wet.
Wow.
And I told this story to her daughter, my aunt, my mom's sister, and she's like, I never heard that story. And I'm like, yeah, you should have hung out with your mom more.
Yeah, right.
But it was, that was the last century. People were still.
It was, and I heard there was Mrs. Hotto. She was a neighbor in Gates when I grew up. She lived about 100, and she grew up there, and it was all farmland. And she would point out where this was, and we would dig up old farm equipment in our yard. Yeah. It's cool digging into history, but festivals too. There's the Phelps Sauerkraut Festival.
You know what they used to have a lot of too was when they had early refrigerators, they get ice blocks.
Right.
Yeah.
They get those tongs. You see them all over the place.
Yeah.
But you would have ice ponds where people ice ponds and ice houses. Right?
Yeah, they'd saw them up into blocks and everything.
Right. Back in the day, the ice box.
Yeah. Until it became electrified or whatever.
Yeah.
They figured it out how to do it.
There's still a salt mine in Mount Morris there.
It's like George Carlin said.
Yeah, they moved it. After
I was immune. I swum in the Hudson River. I was immune.
Where is it now?
Called the germs.
The one you see from the road is the new one.
Oh.
So the town was called Restov.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Foster spelled backwards.
Yeah.
Trivia.
Wow.
And there was, it actually was like a point, it was a 3.0 when it collapsed, the old salt mine collapsed. And people didn't know, they still don't know to this day, was it an earthquake that triggered the salt mine collapse, or was the salt mine collapse the earthquake? Huh. But then they rebuilt the mine, and now that's when you can see 3D.
I actually, when I lived in Geneseo, this is a long, long time ago, but I lived in this house with these, and one of the guys in the house worked at the salt mine, and he was a big dude. And can you imagine a jackhammer all day long in the salt mine, banging on the wall, getting stuff. I mean, and he was and that guy would come home every day with a 12-pack. Honest to God, this guy was like, he'd work and get drunk. That was it.
I remember the one.
What a life.
Yeah.
It's like the Rush song, Working Man.
Yeah,
man.
But I heard, the one I remember was my friend Dave Acosta. He grew up in Clifton Springs. And he was this, he had these chapbooks and stuff in the drugstore there. But he lived in the inn next door. It was over a sulfur mine. I don't know how. Because these smell of rotten eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how you ever got used to that.
Yeah. That'd be tough.
We should actually try to do some research sometimes instead of making stuff up and do some weird history. We're not going to hire a researcher, though, or anything, so we have to just make it up from, as we go along. But there's so much weird history and stuff that goes on around here.
We could do drunk weird history.
Yeah. I know. I watched that one. That was pretty
Drunk
funny.
history's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, we've talked about that before, about some of our stories that are really during some of the old days.
Yeah, look at all the stuff that happens when you get drunk. It's
Yeah.
just you go into this mode where you would never do it if you were sober.
Right.
No matter what it is.
Or some of the old shows and stuff or whatever, and the old thing was, okay, how did I get home and where's my car? Or stuff like that.
Was there some actors that were on TV shows that were drunk when they did their shows?
Well, George Reeves, I guess, he would go out at lunch and he'd in the later Superman
Pound
episodes.
martinis.
Yeah, the later Superman episode, you can see he's pickled and some. Or Art Carney,
yeah.
was, I guess, soused a lot of times on the Honeymooners.
Honeymooners.
But he wasn't really functional. I guess Jackie Gleason was a functional drunk.
Yeah.
So, but I guess not Lawrence Welk, though, because I guess Lawrence Welk had his high moral standards. For
Yeah, you never do that.
I had to explain to Jill who Lawrence Welk was.
Oh,
Because it was...
her lack of education scares me.
When we left
Bob
Black
Innocent.
Crows, Black Crows, after the band was off and everything else, and they were trying to get people out, they played the closing song from Lawrence Welk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I had to explain it.
Yep.
Yeah. Good night, sleep tight.
Just the way you said that, trying to get to hear Lawrence Welk, they start running for the exits.
That show is still on. I mean, it's in syndication.
Yeah.
I mean, you always see it.
Isn't that theme song actually from The Sound of Music? Didn't they use that in Sound of Music?
Oh, that's a different song.
Oh, it's a different song.
It's
It's
a
not
different
mine.
similar-
I've
similar
never
idea.
seen.
Yeah, same idea.
I've never seen Sound of Music yet.
Are you serious? All the time they have it on
Yeah.
TV,
You've
It's
never
Wonderful
seen Nuns
Life?
and Nazis?
Okay, now it's appealing.
Nuns and Guns?
There was a movie. I remember I didn't get to see it. I should have bought it when I saw it. But the guys that did the Flash TV show,
Oh, yeah.
Danny
Yeah, I remember that.
Bilson or DeMeo.
Yeah, Bilson wrote for the comics.
There was this
too.
weird movie where they had aliens and Nazis or something, and they were in the army, and there were these aliens that came down and they helped fight the Nazis. It was like this weird mashup, kind of like Cowboys and
Cowboys
Aliens.
and Aliens,
It
yeah.
sounds like a true story.
That's a
of
good one.
Antarctica.
Off the top of your
the
head.
Nazis down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even remember the name
Off
of it.
the
I'd like
top
to try
of your
to find
head,
it.
anybody, what's the weirdest movies, one of the weirdest movies you've seen? But I'll start. There's one called Anonymous Rex. It's got one of the Baldwin brothers in it. The dinosaurs didn't go extinct, but they can make themselves look like humans, so they're living among us.
Wow. I like. You ever see Cold Turkey with Dick Van Dyke?
Yeah,
But the
That's one of
town's
my
got to
favorite
quit
ones.
smoking.
Yeah, they quit smoking.
yeah. That was
That was a
good one.
great movie.
It was, pretty amazing.
I'm trying to think. Boy, I don't know.
I'd say Bubba Hotep.
I
Yeah,
own
that was
it.
pretty good. I like that one too.
Bubba Hotep's probably one of my favorite mashup movies in terms
Where he
of...
tries to be Elvis and
That's
you know,
sure.
Well, he is
Joe-
Elvis.
Yeah, it's like
he's
Elvis in a different.
John
Yeah.
Kennedy.
And John Kennedy, Black John Kennedy.
Yep.
Well, I guess I have to go with. I've mentioned this before. This old movie serial. It's a mascot. One of those Poverty Row Studios, they called it. The Phantom Empire with Gene Autry. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Gene Autry.
It's a mashup of he's got this ranch and he has a radio show, so there's all this cowboy stuff, and then underneath the ranch, underground, there's this whole civilization called Murania, and they're looking for radium. These guys are trying to find radium. They use radium. Radium was a huge thing back in the 30s.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
but it's the weirdest movie, because he goes down there and there's robots and all kinds of weird stuff, and And then there's like singing cowboy stuff, so it's like very strange.
You know what's ahead of its time that's weird too is Metropolis.
Oh yeah,
Did you ever see the whole movie? Like
it's
when
great.
they found the lost footage and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Oh my god, it's such a great movie.
Every once in a while they'll do it at the Eastman House at the theater there with live accompaniment with the soundtrack. It's
well,
really,
they have the one with Queen or something, or who plays on that? Like the music. I don't know if it's Queen or somebody else.
I don't know. Not Flash. They did the Flash Gordon movie.
Oh, I'd be thinking of Flash Gordon too.
That was 1980. The Queen did the soundtrack.
Queen did the soundtrack.
I don't think Queen would have done Metropolis. They were a little.
Metropolis was
on
freaking
board.
weird, man. I mean, like that one guy. The one guy, all he does is screw around with those.
Yeah, right.
The
It's
dials.
Like a
The dials.
factory. Moving the dials.
That weird German expressionism.
Yeah,
It's
very
like-
much. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari too is a weird movie. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
That's
what's
a
the
silent
plot?
movie. Basically, it's about this somnambulist guy, and he's got this guy he puts to sleep, and it's like an attraction. But it's like got all those weird crooked buildings and all the weird expressionist stuff. Yeah, check it out sometime.
Huh.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Well, there was a new movie where they had
My
like
voice
an
is starting.
upside down city. Do you remember that movie? It had like I can't think of the actor's name that's in it, but everything was upside down, or they had like two levels. Like one was normal and the other one was like the other direction.
I'd love to see
Like you
that.
see people walking on the ceiling and stuff like that.
That's cool. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I just can't think of the name of it.
That's why we just
not Inception.
It might be Inception. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah,
Inception.
because that was the scene where they
That
had the
was
wraparound
great,
world.
yeah.
They had the
Well,
traps.
it's a wraparound world, right?
Yeah.
I have that. I'll have to rewatch.
Then you go to
that.
some foreign, like Pedro Montalvar's movies, especially in the 80s. Whoops. It's a movie called Donkey. I won't even say like on the opening scenes about
Donkey.
it.
Well, then you got
Yes.
you got like Dust to Dawn, which is just a great.
See, that's like Joe R. Lansdale's
Yeah, that
one of
movie
my
just
favorite.
switches gears. Like
Joe R. Lansdale's like one of my favorite writers, and he's just like perfect summer read. He's easy to read. He's the master. He said he was influenced by Billy the Kid Meets Dracula.
Wow.
And he loves those mashups just sticking. But he does this one, it's called The Dark Rider, and the reveal is that the Dark Rider is the time traveler from the time machine. He went insane from traveling in time.
Wow. Huh. That's interesting.
And it's cool how he takes these concepts, it's like from Dust to Dawn, because it's a good movie, and then it just turns on its head.
Oh, one movie I gotta mention too is was it Abraham Lincoln?
Oh, the
Zombie
Vampire Killer.
Vampire Killer.
Zombie Killer.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it yet.
I have. It's good.
Is it really good?
Yep.
Just the idea of having, because he was known to be a wrestler, when he was before president.
Oh yeah.
He did do wrestling.
Oh,
and
I didn't
stuff
know
like
that.
Yeah, he was a champion wrestler. And
Wow.
everything.
I've told you about my cult movie calculator that I built back in
Oh no!
in a previous life.
No.
So it has wheels on it, and you just spin the wheels and dial in different combinations of things.
Wow.
And what made me think of it was Repo Man, right? Because you got aliens, right? You got cars, right? So
Mike Nesmith.
yeah. So you just sort of dial in like actually that's a good idea. I'll add a wheel to it with like oddball actors.
Right.
Yeah, and then
music stuff. Or
and
something.
so vampires, werewolves, mummies, Abbott and Costello. You just sort of
Put
it
that
all
on
together.
Wait a
Facebook. I'd
second,
love to
though.
see
Yeah,
that.
Wait a second.
I'll have to rebuild it.
Wait a
because
second, though. You're a communist? No communists in my studio. No cushions either. One of my friends got nailed on Facebook because he used that stuff about John Wayne in that movie.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about the movie that everybody that was in this movie was shot after one of the surface atomic tests out and it was a Western, and everybody in that movie
The
died from
Conqueror with
Misfits.
John Wayne. Yeah,
Yeah,
The Conqueror.
I thought it was the Misfits that everyone died from.
I thought it was
radiation.
the
No,
Misfits too. Was it
that
the
might have been the
Conqueror?
Misfits. I could be wrong. I
Hey,
thought it was a.
what's the story?
Everybody that was in the movie died from lung cancer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I thought it was
They were
the
shooting.
Conqueror.
They were downwind. They got the fallout from a surface
Holy
test.
crap.
Yeah, I think it was
I didn't
two
know
movies.
that.
There
was John
Okay,
Wayne
I
as
know
Genghis
Misfits is
Khan,
one. There's
too.
another one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Misfits
it
was
was a
good, too.
Conqueror.
Wow.
No, but that's like one of the greatest performances ever was John Wayne as Genghis Khan,
Wow.
too.
Yeah, that's right. He did dress up as Genghis Khan.
That he spoke just like John Wayne.
It's kind of like,
Just like I
it's kind
love
of like
it.
Jimmy Stewart when he was dressed up like a clown.
What is the
Yeah.
great?
It's like you never
The
expect
greatest story ever told, where John Wayne's a centurion. Truly, this was the Son of God.
That's a great line.
Show us your Moses now, yeah. Yeah. Where's your Moses now, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know that was a funny one.
But as I thought, like with this crew, I think we're coming up on an hour already, and we would need to start. So,
we didn't use up all our material before the show this time, which is
and everything. But I just like I usually time, but it's like we're just going along. But I figure it's like.
How did you want to time my songs? I had a couple songs.
We just play something at the end and you can explain them.
Yeah, I mean, because they need to be explained to before you put
Well, you
them
can
in there.
say what they are. Dell's got some weird... And we don't
that.
have like a rule, so we're going to play a couple songs at the end from Dell, and he can explain what they are.
Well, just real quickly, one is called Wacky Bushy Pineapples, which is a weird thing, but it was either about a cereal or a color that was never seen before, or Millbrook bread or something. Some
Right.
really
there's a
weird
blast.
thing that was involved with it, but I made it into a song, which is kind of weird. It's not on any of my CDs. I also have Actors, which is a poem by Jim Morrison that I added and made it into a song. It's pretty cool. It's a demo. It's not perfect, but it sounds good.
I loved playing with you for that thing we did.
Yeah,
we still
that was
have
fun
all those
in your
things.
basement. I
Yep.
love that stuff. And then I wrote a song with the late Luther of Luther and the BBBs called Everybody Else's Girl, which is a different version from the one that I have at home. It's like there's an acoustic version and then there's a rock version, which is on the CD.
And all you've had me thinking of now is Smitty's Birdland, Millbrook, because I always remember I love the Wonder Bread.
Love the
You always
Wonder
get
Bread.
the Wonder
Wonder
Bread at
Bread, right.
Smitty's
Wonder Bread.
Birdland.
Yep.
That was always awesome. That was like one of the best memories. That at the time my dad went to get takeout, some wino came up and offered my mom something from a bottle. Smitty chased him away.
Those
Those are the days.
I was going through a basement the other day at Debbie's house, my girlfriend's house. Was helping her. She's having some work done. Anyway, I'm cleaning out stuff, and her mom collected a lot of arts and crafts and different things, but she had like old Women's Day magazines and things down there. A couple.
Wow.
And I was looking through them, and oh my god, the un-PC stuff and the ads, and oh man, that stuff is classic. I'm going to snag a few of those.
Man, I think this has to be officially
incredible.
a part one of this. We'll just have to toss out more carnival treats like cotton candy. And
Yeah.
this will be the Circus Peanut episode of the carnival treats.
There you go.
I used to love Circus Peanuts when I was a kid, but I
There's
hate them now.
always the weird.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
always the people out there. I say, whatever music, whatever food you hate, there's always some person who loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
For
there's-
some reason,
there's
you know, like
always
people
some
that like
person.
calamari.
Because
and
always
stuff
it's like
that.
the idea of fruitcake. Why would they make the damn things that
I know it.
people didn't eat the damn? Didn't eat
Yeah,
them.
they're still made.
So it's like a circus.
You know what's
peanuts.
disappearing though is mincemeat pie. I love mincemeat pie, but nobody makes it anymore.
We'll make you some.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, we make it. We've actually got mincemeat aging in our
Really?
in our shelf in our kitchen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's really
Nobody
good.
likes
like,
it?
no, it's really good. Like after
I like
a year
it.
or 2 years, you have to make it up and let it
Yeah,
sort of
let it ferment a little bit.
not even ferment, just sort
Or
of.
gels.
What's it from? Dates or is it
It's
dates?
it's
It's like raisins, I
it's candied fruit. So you take
Oh.
orange rind and
Right,
lemon
orange
rind,
rind, yep.
and you candy it, and then everything kind of has
But
to
I
sit
think
and
the one that-
coagulate over
Oh,
a
wow.
period
First
of
made them
time.
in England. They were actually made of meat. They actually used meat, I guess.
Yeah.
But I used to make a really good sauerbraten before I converted to the church. But I still remember the one I'll leave it on as I made a soup, because we could go on for like 3 hours here. People got gigs and lives. And
Yep.
other
Steel
stuff.
Rail Revival today. Although by the
5:00.
time you hear this, I'll be done. I'll be
Greg
home.
will have done.
Which venue?
Stage 14.
Stage
up at
14,
the-
that's right.
If any of you are time travelers,
Area
come back
51.
and see it. But I remember the one time I tried a souffle, and literally it came out. We talked about, Paul and I had this very pedantic conversation about, what if you fart when they take your blood pressure? Does it go down? and
A little air out there.
and literally the souffle, when it came out, just went. But on that, thanks everybody. We'll have to do a part two.
Right.
Souffle de souffle.
Yes, the souffle. So
That was
Like
soufflatulence.
souffle.
and on that, listen to Dell's stuff and hope you had fun.
Tell me what band name's souffle.
Girl I like loves that. The girl I like loves that. Bushy pineapples, wacky bushy pineapples. Can't wait to open the box. Wacky bushy pineapples, wacky bushy pineapples.
Actors must make us think. They're real, oh so real. Our friends mustn't make us think. We're acting, though in slow time they are. My wild words slip into fusion and risk losing the solid ground as of music of the sacred sound. So stranger, get wilder still, risk danger of a wilder thrill. Roll the highlands, oh so high, take the stage like a catcher in the rye. Actors must make us think. They're real, oh so real. Our friends mustn't make us think. We're acting, though in slow time they are. Though in slow time they are. Roll the highlands, oh so high. Take the stage like a catcher in the rye. As a musing of the sacred sound, so stranger get wilder still. Risk danger of a wilder thrill. Trove the highlands, oh so high. Take the stage like a catcher in the rye. Actors must make us think. They're real, oh so real. Our friends mustn't make us think. We're acting, though in slow time they are. Oh, in slow time they are. Roll the highlands, oh so high. Take the stage like a catcher in the rye. Actors.
Everybody else's girl, take one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody wants to know her. Everybody wants to hold her. And everybody's dream is to see everybody else's
never lies. Kelly's a sweet girl who never cries. Kelly's a smart girl with a blue dress on. Jackie's a girl who I wrote the song. There ain't no stopping me now. I'm trying to keep a man from a broken heart. There ain't no stopping me now. I gotta keep my world from falling apart. Everybody wants to know her. Everybody wants to hold her. And everybody seems that she's everybody else's girl. Every time I call her name now, every time it's all the same now. She's in everybody's eyes, that she's everybody else's girl. Lucy's a cute girl who really cares, and she's a neat girl who always stares. Kelly's a young girl with lots of flair. Jimmy's a cool girl who never cares. But there ain't no stopping me now. I'm trying to keep a man from a broken heart. But there ain't no stopping me now.